Hello there, I'm Catherine, and I'm 31 years old. Just a short while back, I experienced the joy of becoming a mom to twin babies, who mean the world to me. During this time, I encountered a situation where my own family members nearly took one of my children away from me. Let's start from the beginning. My journey began when I met John during our college years. Right from our first meeting, it felt like we were meant to be together forever. We connected on a level that was unlike anything either of us had experienced before. It wasn't long after our college graduation that we decided to get married, focusing on building our careers and saving up so we could plan for a family. Around the same time, John's sister, Lisa, married her long-term boyfriend. They were eager to start a family right away. Lisa had always dreamed of being a mother, but after 5 months of trying without any success, she started to feel quite down. She leaned heavily on me and her mom, Julie, for support. I remember many times comforting her through her tears over yet another negative pregnancy test. Eventually, I encouraged her to see a doctor with her husband to check if any underlying issues were preventing them from conceiving. Lisa was scared, but she went for the tests. Unfortunately, the results showed that she was unable to have children, which left her heartbroken. I stayed by her side for the next couple of weeks, as she couldn't even bear to be around her husband. It was a tough time for her, and seeing her pain made me hesitant about starting my own family. I was scared of facing a similar situation. Despite my fears, John and I began trying for a baby a few years after our wedding, once we felt financially stable. Luckily, it didn't take long for us to conceive. John was thrilled with the news. I was a bit concerned about how Lisa would react, but John reassured me that it wasn't something to worry about too much. We decided to share the news of my pregnancy during a family dinner. At our family gathering, we invited all our relatives to share our joy. While everyone else was brimming with happiness for us, Lisa's reaction stood out. She wasn't pleased and left the dinner early. John encouraged me not to dwell on her reaction too much. During a routine checkup in our second trimester, John and I received the surprising news that we were expecting twins. The initial shock quickly turned into immense joy. Although the thought of having twins was a bit daunting, I felt reassured that everything would be okay. We planned another dinner party to share our news, initially excluding Lisa to spare her feelings, given her struggles with fertility. However, after some insistence from Julie and Benjamin, and reassurance from Lisa that she would be okay, we reluctantly invited her. At the dinner, after enjoying our lunch, we gathered everyone to make our big announcement. We assured them that the pregnancy was progressing well, and revealed the delightful discovery of 2 heartbeats. The room filled with excitement and congratulations at the news of twins, though we hadn't learned their sexes yet, preferring to wait until birth. The celebration, however, took a sour turn with Lisa's reaction. She accused us of being insensitive and selfish for celebrating our twins, given her fertility struggles. Despite her previous insistence on attending, she seemed to have hoped for bad news to feel a sense of camaraderie in our struggles. Her outburst suggested a deep-seated pain and envy, struggling with the unfairness of our fertility compared to her challenges. It was a stark reminder of the complex emotions surrounding fertility and family, overshadowing our moment of joy with a touch of sadness and reflection on the sensitivity needed when sharing such personal news within a family facing such issues. When Lisa expressed her frustration about being present at our announcement, it highlighted a complex situation. We had suggested she might want to skip the gathering to avoid any discomfort, but she insisted on coming. It wasn't our intention to upset her by sharing our news. We simply wanted to share our joy. Lisa's reaction, wishing harm upon our unborn children, was deeply upsetting. Despite understanding her struggles, it's never justifiable to wish ill on others. Feeling shocked by her harsh words was an understatement. I had always been mindful of Lisa's feelings, knowing her sensitive situation regarding pregnancy. My attempt to protect her was met with resistance, and her harsh wish against my children was alarming. John stood by my side, addressing Lisa's behavior as unacceptable. He asked her to leave, suggesting she should only reach out to us through messages or calls to prevent any stress on my end. Lisa's departure was marked by a look of animosity that sent chills through me, indicating a strain in our relationship that I hadn't anticipated. The following day, Lisa reached out to apologize. She admitted her behavior was out of line and expressed regret. Acknowledging her apology, I couldn't help but stress how inappropriate it was to wish harm on my babies, regardless of her struggles. Lisa confessed her overwhelming jealousy and the unresolved feelings she harbored. Despite her apology, her previous wish cast a shadow of doubt on her sincerity. She attempted to convey the depth of her desire to have children and the physical and emotional toll it had taken on her. This conversation underscored the complexity of navigating relationships amidst personal struggles, highlighting the need for empathy, boundaries, and understanding in the face of pain and disappointment. Lisa tried to explain that if our situations were reversed, she couldn't imagine reacting the way she did. She was in a dark place, and her words came out all wrong. She assured me she would be devastated if anything had actually happened during my pregnancy, and sincerely apologized, hoping we could move past the incident. However, I needed to be honest with myself and with her. It would take some time for me to process everything. John and I felt it was best for Lisa to keep her distance for the time being. Her wishing harm on us, even in a moment of weakness, made us uneasy about what might happen in the future. Despite her protests and assurance, she was not a danger. We decided some space was necessary for the safety and well-being of our family. Lisa's apology, while appreciated, couldn't erase the tension her words had caused. Her actions revealed a side of her we were uncomfortable with, leading us to prioritize the safety of our children. Following this decision, I received numerous messages from her and John's parents, criticizing me for being too harsh on Lisa, given her struggles. They expected me to overlook her harmful words, but I stood firm on my decision to protect my peace and my children's safety. I made it clear that continued pressure on this issue would lead to them being blocked and possibly not meeting my children. This stance quickly quieted their objections. The birth of my twins was a challenging and frightening ordeal. After delivering the first baby, I started to lose a significant amount of blood and consciousness. Thankfully, I managed to deliver the second baby but passed out immediately afterward. I didn't regain consciousness until the next day, and my bleeding continued for some time. The doctors informed John that there were complications, adding another layer of stress to our already strained situation. Through it all, the primary focus remained on the health and safety of our newborns, reinforcing the difficult decisions made to ensure their well-being amidst family tensions. The birth of our twins was initially fraught with fear, making their healthy arrival a moment of immense relief and gratitude for us. We decided to spend the first 5 months in privacy, cherishing the early moments of our expanded family. When we finally welcomed visitors, including John's parents, their joy at meeting the babies was evident. Their admiration quickly took an unexpected turn when they suggested we give one of our twins to Lisa. This suggestion was based on their sympathy for her inability to conceive, but the idea of parting with one of our children was unimaginable to us. They argued that since the twins were a surprise, perhaps we weren't prepared to raise both, and giving one to Lisa would solve her problem of childlessness. They even went as far as to suggest we conceal the true parentage of the child given to Lisa. This proposal was shocking and unacceptable to us. Our refusal was firm, leading to a heated debate about family responsibility, empathy, and the extent to which one should go to alleviate another's suffering. John's parents couldn't understand our perspective, equating their willingness to make such a sacrifice with our situation. In response, John posed a significant question to his parents. Would they have given up one of their children to make someone else happy? His father's reply, that he would have done so for his sister if she had fertility issues, highlighted a stark difference in how each of us valued and viewed the bond with our children. This exchange underscored a fundamental disagreement on family dynamics, empathy, and the limits of sacrifice. While we empathized with Lisa's situation, the suggestion to give up one of our children as a solution was beyond consideration. Our commitment to our twins' welfare and our role as their parents was non-negotiable, marking a clear boundary in our family relationships. Understanding their perspective but staunchly disagreeing, I expressed how much I had endured to bring my twins into this world, making it clear that nothing could persuade me to part with them. Their accusation of selfishness only fueled my resolve to protect my children, leading to an unequivocal demand for them to leave our home. Their insistence on what they believed was right was both shocking and deeply disrespectful to us. John and I could not fathom the audacity of even considering such a proposal, not just because of our bond with our children, but also due to Lisa's demonstrated instability. Her previous actions and emotional fragility made it clear to us that she wasn't in a position to provide a stable, nurturing environment for any child. This incident heightened our vigilance around our children, ensuring they were never out of our sight. A deep, unsettling feeling gnawed at me, hinting at impending trouble, a premonition I couldn't dismiss. Despite my efforts to stay calm, the dread persisted, eventually manifesting on what began as a typical day. I had entrusted John with watching the twins for a few hours, seizing the opportunity for some personal time. Opting for a leisurely visit to the park, I unexpectedly encountered a friend from a local parents group. Both of us were new mothers to twins, which had strengthened our bond. She had her children with her, and for a moment I assisted by holding one of her babies while she caught up with some acquaintances she had met there. During our interactions, I momentarily turned away from the stroller, fully engaged in the camaraderie and brief respite from my concerns. After handing my friend's child back to her, I headed home, feeling a bit lighter from the brief interaction and the normalcy it brought to my day. Upon arriving home, I received a startling call from Julie, who claimed quite bewilderingly that she and Benjamin had taken one of my babies, intending to give the child to Lisa. Her accusation and the subsequent claim were both absurd and alarming. Julie's justification, rooted in a belief in sharing to the extent of giving away children to ensure happiness, was shocking. I immediately refuted her claims, assuring her that both my children were safe with me at home. Julie then insisted she had taken one of my babies from the park, a claim that quickly fell apart when I explained I hadn't brought my children to the park, but rather had been with a friend's child. The confusion deepened when Julie realized she had mistakenly taken another child, thinking it was mine. The situation escalated when we discovered through an Amber Alert that the child Julie had taken was the deputy officer's baby, making the matter significantly more serious. Julie's accusation that I had somehow orchestrated this mix-up to avoid sharing my children was ludicrous. The conversation shifted from incredulous to desperate as the reality of her mistake set in. I suggested she stay calm and prepare to rectify the situation, emphasizing that taking any child, family or not, was never acceptable. The urgency to resolve the misunderstanding and ensure the child's safe return was paramount, overshadowed only by the bewildering sequence of events that led to such a precarious situation. After realizing the gravity of the situation, I quickly texted my friend to inform her that the deputy officer was on his way to recover his child. Julie's reaction to my decision to involve the authorities underscored her disbelief at the potential consequences of her actions. Despite her threat to disown us, John and I were resolute in our stance. The safety of children and the respect for legal and moral boundaries far outweighed any familial connection to someone willing to commit such a grave act. The internal turmoil I felt was intense, despite maintaining a composed exterior during the call. The idea that Julie would stoop to kidnapping to fulfill her daughter's desires was deeply unsettling. John, equally shocked, confronted Julie, leading to her attempted escape. However, the officer intervened in time, taking her into custody for questioning. In preparation for the legal proceedings, I presented the recorded conversation, not out of malice towards Julie, but out of a profound concern for my children's safety. The evidence of her confession was crucial in the investigation. Julie faced charges of child kidnapping, necessitating a trial to determine her fate. The legal battle that ensued was draining for everyone involved. In the end, Julie was sentenced to 6 years in prison and fined a significant amount, payable to the officer. This outcome provided a temporary relief from the immediate threat to my children's safety. However, it also left me apprehensive about the future reactions from Lisa and Benjamin to this development. The ordeal highlighted the lengths to which individuals might go under the guise of familial love, challenging the boundaries of what is acceptable and forcing a reevaluation of what it means to protect one's family. Not long after Julie was imprisoned, Lisa and Benjamin made a dramatic appearance at our doorstep, loudly demanding entry. Opting for a more restrained approach, I opened the door to speak with them outside, preventing any further escalation within our home. Lisa immediately accused me of being responsible for her mother's arrest, framing Julie's actions as a misguided attempt to alleviate her suffering. Despite her accusations, I clarified that Julie's intentions, however well-meaning she believed them to be, led to criminal actions. My decision to inform the officer about the child's location was driven by the urgent need to resolve the Amber Alert situation, not a personal vendetta against Julie. Lisa's suggestion that there might have been a way to return the child without legal consequences for her mother was unrealistic, given the seriousness of Julie's actions. It was clear that any attempt to kidnap a child, whether mine or someone else's, was a punishable offense. Lisa's plea for me to persuade the deputy officer's family to drop the charges was met with firm refusal, highlighting the irreversible breach of trust Julie's actions had caused. Facing insults from Lisa, I stood firm on the decision to protect my family by pursuing restraining orders against both her and Benjamin, and to challenge their rights as grandparents. Their inability to see the gravity of Julie's actions and their insistence on maintaining contact with the children, despite the risks posed, underscored the necessity of these legal measures. The confrontation was a painful but clear indication that the safety and well-being of my children could not be compromised, setting the stage for a legal process aimed at ensuring our family's security and peace. After firmly shutting the door on Lisa and Benjamin's unrealistic demands and accusations, I felt a sense of closure. Despite their inability to grasp the severity of their actions, I was no longer burdened by their lack of understanding. The resolve to protect our family's peace led John and me to take legal steps to ensure they couldn't harm us or our children. This included formally requesting the revocation of Ray and Julie's rights to see the twins. The decision wasn't easy, especially for John, who faced the tough choice of distancing himself from his family. His willingness to make such a sacrifice underscored the depth of his commitment to our family's safety and well-being. Understanding the gravity of the situation and the need for a fresh start, we also decided to move. Changing our living situation was a proactive measure to maintain our privacy and security, a decision driven by the unnerving attempt to take one of our children. This move, though drastic, was a necessary step towards ensuring our family's safety. The journey has been challenging, but John's support has been unwavering, reinforcing my gratitude for having a partner so dedicated to our family. We are now focused on building a secure and happy life for our children, away from the threats that once loomed over us. As we move forward, our priority remains the well-being and protection of our children, even if it means making difficult decisions and changes. I appreciate the support and understanding from everyone who has followed our story. Navigating parenthood is demanding, and while I hope to keep you updated, the bustling nature of life with twins might make that a bit sporadic. Nonetheless, the journey to ensure our family's safety and happiness continues, guided by our love for our children and each other.